Rome, the heart of the world, the center of civilization, the greatest city of mankind, a city of marble temples, roaring forums, and streets that never slept. For centuries, Rome had seemed invincible, but every empire carries within it the seeds of its own destruction. One night, the Roman sky turned blood red. The streets were swallowed by fire, transformed into hell itself. And from that night on, one name has always been tied to the same question: Nero. Was he truly the emperor who set Rome ablaze, burning his own people alive? Or was it nothing more than a dark legend whispered through history? Tonight, we uncover one of history's greatest mysteries. Nero's story was never ordinary. He was born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, a name heavy with lineage and expectation. His bloodline stretched back to the Julio-Claudian dynasty, the family of emperors who had ruled Rome since Augustus. Greatness and madness flowed equally in his veins. From the beginning, whispers surrounded his family. His father, Gnaeus Domitius, was known for arrogance and cruelty, remembered as a man who once killed a freedman for failing to drink enough wine at a feast. His mother, Agrippina, was even more infamous. Beautiful, ambitious, and utterly relentless, she was described as a woman who could bend even Rome's hardest men to her will. When Nero's father died, Agrippina seized the chance to shape her son into more than a child. To her, Nero was not simply a boy. He was a weapon, a future emperor, a chance to cement her own power over Rome. Through her cunning, she married Emperor Claudius, her own uncle, placing Nero closer to the throne than ever. And when Claudius mysteriously died, many whispered by poison. Agrippina's plan was complete. Her son, still a teenager, was crowned emperor. Imagine the scene. A boy of 16, awkward and sensitive, suddenly dressed in the purple robes of Rome. Around him stood senators who had lived through decades of war, generals who commanded legions, priests who demanded reverence for the gods. Rome expected strength, stoicism, a godlike presence. Instead, they got a boy who preferred poetry to politics, music to military campaigns, applause to authority. Nero loved the stage. He sang with emotion, wrote poetry, and even dared to perform before the public. In Rome, this was scandalous. Acting was considered dishonorable, reserved for slaves and common entertainers. For an emperor to step into that world was blasphemy. Yet Nero craved it. The applause, the eyes fixed on him, the chance to be admired, not feared. Ancient writers claimed that when Nero performed, he forced audiences into the theater, locking the doors so no one could leave. Senators, soldiers, and citizens alike were trapped for hours. Some fainted, some died in the heat. And afterwards, whispers spread. We survived only because we dared not leave. But history is rarely so simple. Not all accounts were cruel. Some suggested that Nero had true passion, even talent, that his voice carried genuine power. Could it be that the so-called artist emperor was less of a monster and more of a man misunderstood by time? Or perhaps the stage was only the first sign of a deeper madness. By the year 64, Rome was immense. Over 1 million people lived within its walls, the greatest city on earth. Its aqueducts carried water for miles. Its forums bustled with trade. Its temples glistened with marble. And yet, it was fragile. Most Romans did not live in palaces. They lived in insulae, towering wooden apartment blocks stacked floor upon floor. Kitchens burned with open flames. Oil lamps lit every hallway. Fires were common, almost expected. The streets were narrow and crowded. Horses, carts, beggars, merchants, and children all pressed together. Rome had burned before, in smaller fires. But in the summer of 64, the omens multiplied. A comet cut across the sky. Priests spoke of the gods' anger. A statue of a goddess collapsed in the forum without warning. And then came the whispers. Some claimed they smelled sulfur in the air. Others swore they saw hooded men carrying torches through the streets. Some even accused imperial soldiers of scattering pitch and oil near the houses. Were these just frightened imaginations, or signs of something planned? Rome was glorious, yes, but it was a city waiting to burn. It began in the Circus Maximus, where wooden stalls overflowed with oils and fabrics. No one knows how the first flame sparked. Was it chance or intention? The fire spread fast, so fast that families barely had time to run. Eyewitnesses spoke of chaos, mothers carrying children through smoke, men hauling statues of their household gods, animals running wild, the deafening roar of flames louder than war. The fire consumed Rome for 6 days. When it seemed over, the flames reignited. 10 of the city's 14 districts were destroyed. Homes, temples, libraries, markets, all gone. And the people asked, "Where is the emperor?" The legend spread. Nero stood on his balcony watching the flames, playing his lyre, singing of Troy. To many it was proof of madness, but others say he wasn't even in Rome, that he was far away, in Antium, when the fire began. So why did the story endure? Did people truly see their emperor turn tragedy into theater? Or was this legend crafted by enemies to forever taint his name? And then came darker whispers. Soldiers blocking citizens from putting out the fire. Buckets overturned. People beaten back from the flames. Almost as if someone wanted the fire to spread. When the flames finally died, Rome was unrecognizable. Families camped in the streets. Temples of centuries stood as ruins. At first, Nero seemed merciful. He opened his gardens to refugees, distributed food, and ordered shelters built. To some, he appeared as a savior. But then came the Domus Aurea, the golden house. Picture it. Golden halls, jeweled ceilings, walls painted with visions of paradise. An artificial lake, exotic animals roaming gardens, and a colossal statue of Nero himself towering over it all. To survivors, this was betrayal. Their homes had turned to ash. Their emperor built himself a paradise. Whispers spread. He burned the city to clear space for this palace. Some historians insist Nero's architects had drawn the plans before the fire. If true, the conspiracy gains weight. Even stranger, several of those architects died in mysterious accidents. Were they silenced? The people's rage boiled. Someone had to pay. Nero pointed to a small, strange sect, the Christians. They refused to worship Rome's gods. They met in catacombs, in secrecy. They spoke of a world consumed by fire, perfect scapegoats. The persecution was brutal. Christians were crucified, burned alive, thrown to wild beasts. To Romans, it was justice. To Christians, martyrdom. But was it all Nero's invention, or was there truth in it? Some whispered that a radical sect of Christians may have lit fires, believing it divine will. History leaves us in silence. In the years that followed, Nero's eccentricities grew. He left Rome to tour Greece, competing in festivals, demanding victory no matter his performance. Senators were forced to watch him act on stage. The treasury bled dry. The people grew restless. The Senate conspired. The army revolted. Even Nero's allies abandoned him. He fled the city, hiding in a villa with only a handful of companions. When soldiers approached, Nero faced the end. At 30 years old, he took his own life. His final words became legend. "What an artist dies in me." The Julio-Claudian dynasty ended with him, the boy who loved poetry, the emperor accused of arson, the artist, the madman, the scapegoat. Which was he? So what really happened? Did Nero truly set Rome on fire? Or was it one of history's greatest lies? The only certainty is this: Nero's name will forever be remembered in the flames of Rome. Was he a madman or a victim? That choice is yours. History teaches us one thing: power cannot make us immortal, but the choices we make echo through eternity. If you want to keep uncovering the hidden mysteries of history, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next story.